Man, you won't believe the crazy crap that happened to me the other day. So, I'm chilling at this local coffee joint, right? Just minding my own business, sipping on my caramel macchiato and trying to get some work done on my laptop. It's one of those cozy places with dim lights and indie music playing in the background. Anyway, I'm in my zone, typing away when this woman walks in. And not just any woman, she's the living, breathing definition of a Karen. Blonde bob, oversized sunglasses, and that I want to speak to the manager vibe. I can feel trouble brewing, but I shrug it off, thinking, hey, maybe she's having a bad day. So, Karen saunters over to the only empty table, which just happens to be right next to mine. I give her a nod, the polite acknowledgement. But she just looks at me like I insulted her cat or something. I figure, okay, maybe she's not a morning person. No biggie. I go back to my work, trying to ignore the fact that Karen's giving me the stink eye. But then, she pulls out a pack of cigarettes. Now, I'm no anti-smoking crusader, but this place clearly has a no-smoking policy. There are signs everywhere. But Karen, oh no, she's on a whole different level. She lights up her cigarette like she's in a 90s grunge music video, all defiant and rebellious. Smoke starts wafting over to my table, and I'm thinking, really, in here? I glance around, half, expecting someone to intervene, but everyone's either too absorbed in their laptops or pretending not to notice. I decide to be the brave soul and say something. Hey, excuse me, but there's no smoking in here. I give her my best polite smile, trying to diffuse the situation before it escalates. Karen looks at me with this smirk, exhales a cloud of smoke in my direction and says, honey, we're all gonna die anyway. Might as well enjoy it. I'm staring at her dumbfounded. Did she just blow smoke in my face? Oh, hell no, this isn't going down like that. I take a deep breath, channeling my intercom, and respond, look, I get it. Life's short and all, but that doesn't mean you can just do whatever you want. There are rules, She waves me off like I'm an annoying gnat. Rules are for losers. Live a little, sweetheart. Now, I'm not one to pick fights, but this Karen crossed the line. I decided it's time to teach her a lesson. I grab my coffee, laptop, and move to another table. I can still see her smirking, thinking she won, but little does she know the game has just begun. I finish my work, trying to ignore the lingering smell of her smoke. The nerve of some people, I swear. But then an idea hits me. An idea so gloriously petty, it's practically poetic justice. I head to the counter and discreetly ask the barista for a favor. I explain the Karen situation, and we share a silent agreement. The barista hands me a cup of something that looks like coffee but smells suspiciously like a mix of every syrup they have. I go back to my new table, watching Karen sip her latte with a smug grin. I wait until she's absorbed in her phone, probably posting some Live Your Life quote on Instagram. That's my cue. I approach her table, my best innocent face on, and say, hey, sorry to bother you, but they messed up my order, and I got this weird drink. I think it's yours. Karen looks at the cup, confusion written all over her face. I didn't order this. I shrug, playing the part perfectly. Must have gotten our orders mixed up. You know how it is. I exchange the cups, making sure she gets the special concoction from the barista. I go back to my table, pretending to work but secretly keeping an eye on Karen. It doesn't take long for the magic to happen. Her face contorts into this priceless expression of disgust as she takes a sip of the mystery drink. What the hell is this? She exclaims, making a scene. I glance over, pretending to be surprised. Oh no, did they mess up again? That sucks. The barista gives me a discreet thumbs up from behind the counter. Mission accomplished. Now, you might be thinking, isn't that a bit much? But let me tell you, sometimes you gotta fight fire with fire. And in this case, a little creative revenge was the perfect way to deal with an entitled Karen who thought she could do whatever she pleased. My first post here. First, I would like to thank you all for the amazing environment. I've been back to the internet because of this place and reading up all the posts I can. I love that you all have a kink for justice as big as a kink for storytelling. My story begins working for a financial institution. Heaps of overworking and abuse. And we were contractors from a company in Brazil. We worked 12-plus hour daily easily as we had to deploy stuff at midnight as it was a critical app. I was online all the time. I took all the heavy fire from the client who dealt directly with me. I had a manager who did nothing and despised me because the team loved me. She didn't know the teammates' names and things like this. We were the only team to have a planned on-duty schedule set up the month before, and everyone relied on us, client side and contractor company side. I was the only one the client had the cell phone, and they never complained. This management loved to give everyone's phones to the client so he could call devs non-stop Saturdays, Sundays, moon or sun on the sky. I put my foot down for the first time with this. The second time she tried to send a 2-month girl intern to work with all males from another contractor company, you could imagine how workplace abuse would be dealt with alone. Now, I know there's a lot of amazing people in the world, but I wouldn't put my hand in the fire for the tech community. Sorry. This was the second time I put my foot down. We had an altercation in a call with the client. Because I directly said that intern productivity would plummet having to work with a strange team and under rules that are not our company's. And this could even lead to a lawsuit. She was pissed. We hung up. She calls me alone 0.2 seconds later and scolds me, asking how do I think questioning her would be perceived. Now, I'm a scrum master. The only thing I do is conduct meetings and defuse bombs, so I thought she could use a neuron I freely gave her with my explanation. And I answered, hushing these serious decisions in front of the client said more about her incompetence than to discuss with me in front of him. I think I heard a vein pop on her head. She hung up. Now it gets good. Thanks for reading my introduction. 30 minutes pass and I receive an email stating I was on HR watch for misconduct and insubordination. I was required to take one mentoring session weekly during 1 month, filling up an Excel through the week with everything I did and recounting on these sessions to see where I could improve. The thing is, she saw the dumpster fire the project was and just got accepted to switch project client. So she was going away next week or so, and my new manager would be a flower of a person who had nothing to do with this crap. I called HCR and told them I would like to request her as my personal mentor, as she was the one who pointed so many improvement feedbacks to better my performance and was an example for me of what not to do, but I left this part out. They thought this was an amazing idea. The sessions had her and the HR worker responsible for the case, so she had to put a mentor in face. And lo and behold, I turned into Kaspar Hauser during those sessions. I asked everything. I would fill the Excel to the brim with everything I did, including emails, chat combos, and even screen grabs from my personal phone. The client used to message and requested to go through them so she could approve my company's speech. I would link Excel files inside this Excel file so she had absolutely everything I did, one per row. Those sessions took 2 to 3 hours every Friday, scheduled at 8 a.m. by me, as she would be sure to complain when the team worked until 2 a.m. and I would let them come in late. She would have to rate everything in a drop-down cell, write the week's outcome, and come up with action points for next week. I couldn't help her with this as I was there to learn it. In the last meeting, I requested her manager to be on the meeting, a woman who filled my manager gaps when I needed most, and we had an amazing relationship. She agreed, as in her view, this was a successful mentoring case from her employer. I finished the meeting, asked for 2 minutes at the end, and forwarded my 2 weeks. Here in Brazil, it's 4, written by hand, with all the points that made me quit and receipts, including a part of the fight in front of the client. I was able to record with my phone when I saw things going south. I still think about her, so this is the sad thing. But I now have an amazing job at a big tech company and vowed to never be like her. So I am 24 female, and today is my sister's birthday, 25. But I did not buy her a gift for the first time because of how rude she is. Let's start off with how she acted yesterday. We both live in the same house, so I went over to my grandma's to plan out what cake we're buying her, what flowers, and we know she wants a ring from James Avery. So we were going to get her a gift card because we don't know her ring size. As we're talking, I get a text from my sister saying, I want to go look at rings today. And I replied, I'm over at grandma's right now. We're getting a gift card, to which she replied, why the F? I don't care. I don't want that. I didn't do that to you for your birthday. Tell grandma to call me now. This pissed me off because my birthday was 2 weeks ago and she treated me like shit on my birthday. Here's how it went on my day. I wouldn't let her drive my car to the restaurant just because I wanted to drive my own car. This sets her off and she starts screaming, I'm a witch. I always have an attitude and it's not a special day just because it's my birthday. So I made her take her own car to the restaurant, which I didn't even want her to go at that point, but I was just trying to avoid more arguments on my birthday. So whenever we get seated, which took around 30 minutes for everyone to get there, and she got there early so she was waiting a while, we put in our drink orders, and after she's done saying I've been here for a effing hour, then she automatically starts planning things, who is taking who home and who all is going out after and in what cars. But there's a lot of conversation going on, so I can't focus on it. I just say Sarah's taking me and Max home, to which she says, "Are you even effing listening?" I guess I missed something. At that point, I was just tired of her attitude and told her she should just leave. She said, "Okay." I will stands up with her purse and says, "F you," on the way out. Talk about ruining a birthday. I was so upset I couldn't even eat the food I wanted all day. Anyways, back at what happened yesterday. She calls my grandma and says, "Hello, I don't want an effing gift card. I want the ring." No thought goes into a gift card. I do so much for Christmas and birthdays, and nobody gives a F about mine. Calls me a witch and keeps going on about the ring as if she can't buy it with the gift card. My grandma lets her run all over her and says, "Fine, we'll get the ring." But I say in the background that now I'm not getting her crap. She gets mad and starts yelling even more, so my grandma hangs up the phone. After they got off the phone, I blocked her number because I knew she would be blowing me up with hate messages. So I just canceled everything, the cake, the flowers, and the gift card. She's been like this her whole life, and I hate how she treats my grandma also. My grandma agrees on not getting her anything after that, but as I'm leaving, she says, "Well, we have to get her something." I said, "No, we don't." She's ungrateful. She's always so negative to everyone around her. So she is still blocked, and I don't plan on even seeing her today. Just gonna stay in my room. Hopefully, she realizes needs to grow up and be grateful for whatever gift she receives. The story took place an hour or so ago when I was coming back from work and had to stop at Galmart's. I will be using this name instead of the actual name to get new headphones for work since I'm a sine waiver and mine decided to break it. I got to Galmart's fast, trying to just go in and out the store with the headphones. I went straight to the back where the electronics are looking everywhere. I was having trouble searching for them, so I went to the help desk to ask to this lady. Let's call her Glenda. Stopped me and asked, "Hey, do you know where the Bluetooth mini speakers are?" This lady looked nothing like a Karen. She looked calm and respectful with me. I told her, "Oh, actually, I'm not sure." She quickly cut me off fast, asking if I could ask the employee behind me. I was like, "Sure, whatever, a good deed for today." The guy pointed the direction for the speakers, and she quickly left after a small thank you. I had to interrupt the guy again for the headphones, and he told me the same lane as the speakers. I went to look, and the lady came up to me, realizing I wasn't an employee, and said, "Oh, sweetie, I am embarrassed. I thought you were an employee when I asked you about the speakers." I giggled and told her it's okay. I don't mind at all. We both left back to the electronic desk to ask to open the locked items. Me and Glenda noticed the employee was just chatting and chatting with these two boys till he realized we were waiting and asking Glenda what she needed. Glenda quickly told him about the speaker but was cut off, and the employee said, "I'm not actually employed by Galmart's, but I work with a phone company that has a contract with them. I do not have the keys, and the employee that's supposed to be here is late, but he will arrive in 15 minutes or so." Glenda just stared at this guy for at least a minute and a half. I jumped back as she let out the loudest screaming ever. She was screaming, "Manager, manager, get me the manager now. This is unacceptable." I was right next to her as well, and I backed away and left back to the headphones. I decided to wait till the other employees came. I saw Glenda and a manager walk into the lane I was in for the speaker. I stopped the manager before he left, politely asking if he could open this one too, but I was cut off by him. "I'm sorry, you have to go too." He was cut off. We both were stunned as Glenda started screaming again. No, help her now. She was right after me, and she helped me when she doesn't work here. She was respectful, not like your other employee. Help her now. I was so embarrassed. The manager looked so pissed at me too, and we walked back up to the register that's there. Once Glenda finished paying, she stopped, looked at me up and down, then patted my back and replied, "Thanks, girl. I think these employees are racist, but you respected me, so I got you." And she left. I quickly told the manager I was sorry that I wasn't expecting any of that to happen. He nodded his head and I left. That was just weird. It had been a long day at the fast food joint, the smell of grease and the hustle of the kitchen still lingering on my plain gray dress shirt and black pants. I headed to the self-serve gas station to fill up my car, hoping for a bit of peace before heading home. Little did I know, The universe had a different plan for me that evening. As I stood at the gas pump minding my own business, the harsh fluorescent lights overhead casting a sterile glow, I could feel the day's exhaustion setting in. The familiar routine of inserting my credit card, selecting the fuel grade, and gripping the cold nozzle occupied my thoughts. Suddenly, a screeching voice shattered the monotony. "Do you work here?" A woman, with the quintessential Karen haircut and an indignant expression, was storming towards me. I glanced down at my plain uniform, thinking about how far off she was. "Absolutely not," I replied, my fatigue-infused irritation surfacing. "This is ridiculous. You don't have to be so rude. You're wearing a uniform," the Karen huffed, her anger not diminishing as she pointed at my attire. In that moment, I couldn't help but raise an eyebrow. My uniform was worlds away from the bright red polo and dark pants that the gas station employees adorned. Yet, I took a deep breath and explained, "I work at the fast food place down the road. The employees here wear red shirts. I'm just here to pump gas." Her eyes narrowed, as if processing the information was an impossible task. "Well, you shouldn't be so rude about it," she snapped, before storming off, leaving me bewildered at the audacity of her assumption. As I continued filling my tank, I couldn't help but replay the encounter in my mind. How had a simple gas station visit turned into a confrontation with a Karen? I shook my head, dismissing the incident, and finished up at the pump. It was then that the irony struck me. She accused me of rudeness, while she was the one who initiated the confrontation. I chuckled to myself, wondering if this Karen had a sixth sense for spotting uniforms and assuming employment. Driving away from the gas station, I couldn't shake off the absurdity of the encounter. It was like a scene from a sitcom where misunderstandings led to comical situations. I imagined the Karen scouring every establishment for anyone in a uniform and demanding answers. Back at the fast food place, I shared the bizarre story with my coworkers. Laughter echoed through the kitchen as we pictured the scene. A fast food employee mistaken for a gas station attendant, all because of a uniform mix-up. Days passed, and the encounter became a humorous anecdote among my friends and colleagues. We joked about the uniform radar that Karen seemed to possess, always ready to pounce on unsuspecting individuals who happened to wear any kind of work attire. The incident served as a reminder that life's quirks can turn even the most mundane moments into unexpected adventures. And as I reflected on that peculiar evening, I couldn't help but appreciate the humor that arises when reality takes a detour into the absurd.